Today I'm very pleased to bring you a video about the Wargame Exclusive female Necron miniatures, the Necro Cyborgs. And I can tell you that Necron Girl was very excited to see female Necrons. It's coming right up.
Necrons! 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 Necrons!
Nick speaking, and welcome to this video. And if you're new to the channel and you want to keep up to date with all things Necrons, then please subscribe and hit the bell button to turn on all notifications so you don't miss an upload. Now, for a long time I've been looking at a Necron picture, some artwork of a very cool looking Necron Reaper type miniature. Just look at those robes and the war sigh, a double war sigh. How awesome is that? Now, there aren't a lot of people that are not going to like that picture. That looks awesome. So when I saw a model that looked very similar to that picture, well, I got very excited. So I thought I would investigate this a little bit more, and I went onto the Wargame Exclusive website, and I was very pleased to see a whole section dedicated to female Necron miniatures known as Necro Cyborgs. Now, they do 7 Necro Cyborg female characters, and they do some conversion parts to turn Necron warriors into female Necron warriors, which is very, very cool. Now, they also do other miniatures for other factions as well, so it's definitely worth checking out the website. Now, the website address is www.wargameexclusive.com. Now, I contacted Wargame Exclusive and I had a chat with them about my Necron based YouTube channel, and they thought it would be a nice idea to supply me with some models to review in a video. I've received that box, so I'm going to unbox these miniatures, have a look at them, I'm going to build them, and I'm going to review them in this video. Now, I have a big list of Necron videos that I want to make in the future, and one of them is going to be talking about female Necrons. Should we have female Necrons? Is it part of the fluff? Do we like the models? How do we feel about female Necrons? So that is going to be a future video, but I would love to hear your opinions on female Necrons. What do you think of them? Let me know in the comments box below, and we'll bring those comments into the discussion in a future video. So let's go table down and have a look at the box of female Necrons that I received. Okay, so here is my parcel. Let's get it open. As you can see, it's very well packaged. Nice, sturdy, strong box. So, yeah, let's have a look inside. This is exciting. Okay, so there's staples, there's sellotape. This box is not going to be falling apart in the post, that's for sure. Okay, how do we open it? Okay, we will get there in the end, don't worry, we will get there. Okay, here we go. Whoa. Right, we have 1, 2, and from the other side we have 3, 4. Awesome, right, let's have a closer look. Okay, so these are the 4 models that I've received. I've got the Necro Cyborg Black Widow Lady of Destruction, the Necro Cyborg Crypt Keeper, the Necro Cyborg Ossuary Guard, I think that's how it's pronounced, and Necro Cyborg Grim Reaper, which I'm particularly looking forward to having a look at. Now, first of all, I want to just say a massive thank you to Wargame Exclusive for supplying me these to review on the channel for you guys. Obviously, I'm very excited to have the models myself, but more importantly, I just want to make sure that all of my Necron followers are aware of these models, because I have been looking at these models for quite some time. They do look really awesome. So first of all, let's talk about the packaging. The packaging looks fantastic. What I really like to see and hear is that whilst they of course are made of resin, unlike the Games Workshop ones, this resin actually looks really good quality, and there's none of that sort of left on the sprue type of thing that you get with Games Workshop stuff. Really hard to clean up, so I'm interested to see what these are going to be like to clean up. What I will do is I'll open one up and have a good close look at it, and then I'm going to build all of these models and I'll show you them all built at the end. It's interesting to see that these are deemed as 16 plus, which of course I suppose because they are made of resin and you have to be a little bit more careful when you're using resin, that's probably why there's an age limit. Right, let's get one of these open. I am going to open what I think is probably one of my favourite models from the range, and that is the Grim Reaper. Okay, so let's get this blister opened. It is stapled together, so let's just carefully unstaple this. As I said, I wasn't quite sure how this was going to be supplied, but it does look very good from what I can see so far, and it's got its own little resin base as well, which is awesome. Okay, let's get this open, take out the bits. Okay, here they come. Right, well, first of all I have to say this is looking great in terms of the actual resin material itself. I can see there's hardly any flash. The mould lines I'll have to have a closer look at, but I can't actually see any at the moment. And the actual quality of this resin does look really good. So that is, of course, the staff, which makes this model just super cool. And like I said, you've got the base as well, resin base, which is awesome. So he's got little crystals, and he's obviously standing, standing on this somehow. I'll have to look at the picture. This is looking super cool. So we've got 4 bits, basically the staff, the actual body, the base, and one of the other hands. Actually, I think that's the hand. Ah yes, so this is the staff which goes on here, and of course it's got the hand already. So I am really looking forward to cleaning these up, getting them built, and I'll be back with a final look at all 4 models that I got and give you a review of them. Okay, so here they are all finished. So what I'm going to do is review the build of all 4 models. I'm going to have a closer look at each individual one, tell you what I liked and what I didn't like about them, and then we're going to have a general chat about the models themselves and how we can use them in our armies. So first of all, of course, I washed the resin. So I soaked them in warm soapy water overnight. I also gave them, of course, a little scrub, a very gentle scrub with a toothbrush. I did that a couple of times, then I rinsed them all off and I let them thoroughly dry. And then I started building them. Now I've recently built 6 orcs from Games Workshop, 1 plastic and 5 fine cast. And it took me 6 hours to clean them up and build them, because to be fair, the resin was in a really bad state. It was a lot of work to clean them up. Now these models here took me 2 hours to clean and build, and that includes a couple of bits of green stuff. I did have 1 hole just on the staff there and 1 on the base, but that was all. And in terms of the resin itself, as I said, it was very easy to clean. There's a few little mould lines here and there, but nothing that you wouldn't expect from a model. Now in terms of warpage, the only warpage I had was just on this staff, and to be fair, it was very minimal. I could have just glued it on and you probably wouldn't have noticed. However, I did take a hairdryer to it. I just heated it up and then I just bent it into position. So in terms of the build, I can tell from building these to building the fine cast orcs that I built, these were a lot easier to actually build. However, there was one thing that could have made it a little bit easier, certainly quicker to build, and that's if I had some instructions specifically on this model here, because there's quite a number of bits on those. The others you could probably just get away with because there's not too many bits. I just used the images on the Wargame Exclusive website to work out where everything goes. But yeah, this one here is a bit tricky to work out which legs go into which holes, because there's 3 different sized legs and it's difficult to work out the back legs, which one's which. So yeah, a little instruction book for this one would have been very nice. It certainly would have made the job easier. However, you know, not too many problems there, and of course I managed to build them. So let's have a closer look at each one. Okay, so first of all, the Reaper. Now, out of reference, I haven't glued any of mine to the bases. I just think it's going to be easier to paint the little crystals and stuff, so I will glue mine on after painting. But, well, what can I say about this one? This is just super cool. The sculpt is absolutely amazing. I love everything about it. The double scythe is just really, really cool. I like how, not just on this one, but all of them, the staffs aren't too long, which means there's just less chance of them breaking, unlike the Games Workshop Finecast ones where the staffs are always broken on every model that I see. But no, this is super, super cool. I don't have a bad thing to say about this model, except for the size of the base, because arguably these days the bases really should be bigger for our character models. And it's quite interesting that the only big one is the sort of spider orientated one, the Widow, and that's only bigger because the actual model needs a bigger base. So yeah, I would like to see bigger bases on these, to be fair, but apart from that, it's just absolutely awesome. Okay, so talking of bigger bases, let's move on to this one. This is the Black Widow Lady, and another awesome sculpt. This model grew on me the more I built it. Now I had to be honest, this was the hardest one to build, mainly because A, there was no instruction book, B, there's obviously a lot of parts, and C, with those legs it's very difficult to get them to sit onto the base in the position that you want. Now mine is currently not glued, but I tried to build it so that the legs were next to the crystal, so I have a bigger area to glue the model to. However, this model was the most fun model to build, down to the fact that I could repose the model a little bit more than the others, which tend to have fixed poses. I really enjoyed that, and I tried to make this as menacing as possible, as if it was just about to strike. I am loving the head. The face reminds me of the Borg Queen. It's a very, very cool model. The only thing I don't like about this model is the top of the head, just here. It looks unfinished to me. I'm thinking I might find something in my bits box and just add it to the top. It looks as if there's something missing. There isn't, but as I said, that's just my personal preference. But what a cool sculpt this is. Okay, so next is the Ossuary Guard. Basically, this guy here with his 2 scythes. This girl here with her 2 scythes. Well, once again, she looks super cool, and it's nice to have a model with 2 war scythes in his hands. Her hands, as I said, I had one little sort of hole in the top of the scythe, which I just filled up with green stuff. There was also one on the base. However, to be fair, I didn't really have to fill this in. I just did it because, well, I'm fussy. To be fair, you didn't have to do that. But once again, the staffs are a nice size. They sort of still look super cool and they work, but they're not too long that they're going to cause you problems with snapping, which is really nice to see. To be fair, I've got no bad words to say about this model. It's super cool and I haven't got a bad thing to say about it. The detailing on this one and all of the models is just absolutely fantastic. Okay, so next is the Crypt Keeper. Now, arguably, because of the name, you might think this is supposed to be a cryptic, but I think it's supposed to be a female overlord because it's got a war sigh and, of course, a resurrection orb. Now, it's quite a clever, unusual design. She doesn't have feet. She has these, like, scythe-type legs coming down here, like a Triarch Stalker almost. It's a very clever design. It's sort of working. I have a few issues with it though, and it's very difficult to know where to glue this onto the base or even how to glue it onto the base. There's no connecting points dedicated to it. I also think that the base, whilst the base is very cool, I think the base is too messy for it. So when it's in position, there's just so much going on at the bottom. You can't really see that she's got sort of these unusual legs. And indeed, you can't see that it's actually floating in the air as well, because the sticking points, the gluing points, is on the cloak. So the feet are supposed to be off of the base. But when you put it onto the base, you don't really get that feeling, because I think the base is just a bit too messy. If this is a bigger base, I think you could do a lot more with it and actually have some dedicated points for the cloak to be glued on. So I like the model, I just think there's a slight design issue with it, it's just at the bottom there. But like I said, with all of these models, the quality of the material is excellent, the quality of the sculpting is excellent, and they are highly detailed. Okay, so regarding these 4 models here, I'm going to give Wargame Exclusive a massive thumbs up for these models. The design and the quality of the models are awesome, and they've definitely taken a totally different viewpoint of how Necrons look and really given them lots and lots of character. Now, in terms of using these in our armies, I think the key thing here really is that we can make our armies a little bit more unique using these models. Now, of course, this one looks a little bit like Illuminor with that sort of spider body. However, I think it's a bit bigger than Illuminor. I think she'll make a very nice cryptic or overlord with a staff. Of course, this gal's got the double war side, which you can't actually have in terms of the rules. But of course, we do have relics in our army, and I think this is where these models are going to come into their own. If you're taking a particular relic like the Void Reaper, this gal here is a great Void Reaper model. And of course, this is going to be an overlord, and potentially you could use these as stand-ins for the Forge World models, Toe Hulk for example. So we've got lots of options, and I think these models are going to bring great flavour to your Necron army. Now, don't forget to let me know what you think of those miniatures in the comments box below. And if you want to see some more videos about Necron HQs, then check out that playlist just there. And here's a playlist that YouTube thinks you will like. And if you're not subscribed yet, start now and hit the Idic Beer icon. Beam me up.